Hello and welcome to another history tutoring video from me, the History Tutor. And this video is going to be looking at AQA's topic in Germany 1890 to 1945, and we're going to be looking at Hitler's rise to dictator, and I'll tutor you through a bullet point question. Okay, so what is the bullet point question? You might be wondering. Well, it's this 12 mark at the end of the AQA Paper One exam for the depth study on Germany or America or the other topics like that. In this particular video, we're going to look at the Germany topic, and we're going to look at how Hitler became dictator of Germany by deciding which was the most important. Was it the Reichstag fire or was it the Night of the Long Knives? So firstly, have a revision of your knowledge of these. You can look at my revision guide in detail, or you can look at my tutoring videos by looking through the Germany playlist and finding out some of your key knowledge. So once you've done that, you have a little recap and come back to me and we'll have a quick quiz and see what you can remember about Hitler's rise to power. So here's our quick quiz. So 8 questions to test your knowledge about Hitler's rise to power, starting with some of the earlier themes around unemployment and financial collapse and going right through to him becoming dictator. The question I'm going to go through today is about Hitler's rise to power to being dictator by looking at, as I said, the Reichstag fire and also looking at the Night of the Long Knives. However, you could have questions that are more general, could say political reasons or economic reasons. So obviously test your knowledge on some of those as well. So pause me now and have a go at this quiz. Okay, so here are the answers. So question number 1, if you're looking at unemployment figures in Germany, it might be worth remembering that 5.5 to 6 million Germans were unemployed around 1932 to 33. That's a really good fact to remember for your examples for a question around the impact of the Great Depression on people's lives, or if you're doing a bullet point question about the economic reasons for Hitler's rise to power. So for question 2, you might consider the amount of major banks collapsing. That was 5. So again, really valuable piece of evidence because you might be considering how the middle class and business owners were impacted by the Great Depression and how they might have voted for more extreme parties, particularly the Nazis, and helped their rise to power if you're looking at financial, economic reasons for their rise to power. Number 3 asks you what percentage of unemployed did not receive government aid or financial aid. So 45% didn't receive any help. They might have relied on charity or become homeless even. This might give you another economic factor. If you're looking at a bullet point question about Hitler's rise to power, it might even give you a political factor, the fact that the government had failed to help people. Question number 4 asks how many seats did the Nazis gain in July 1932 election? So by then they became the largest party with 230 seats, and at this stage, as you'll know from my talk through video on this, there was a polarization in the Reichstag where the communists and the Nazis had more seats than the democratic parties themselves, and the Weimar system was failing. Number 5, who convinced Hindenburg, the president, to make Hitler chancellor and that he could control him? So this was January 1933. Von Papen convinced Hindenburg to make Hitler the chancellor. So without this moment of intrigue and argument between von Papen and Schleicher, Hitler might never have become chancellor. So for more detail on that, do have a look through my talk through video or my revision guide to see the timeline of that story developing. What did Hitler gain after the Reichstag fire? So Hitler gained emergency powers, and these emergency powers meant that he could close down opposition meetings and he could have extra police powers, and this might have helped him gain more seats and votes in the Reichstag in the final election result in March 1933. So which law gave Hitler 4 years dictatorial power? So this was enabling law. Hitler had to have a 2/3 majority vote in the Reichstag to change the constitution, and this gave him dictatorial powers for 4 years. And he managed to achieve this by making deals with the Catholic Party, making deals with the Centre Party, and of course the communists were banned after the Reichstag fire, and so he was able to get a 2/3 vote to pass this law. Who did Hitler have killed in the Night of the Long Knives? And this was because this person was a great threat to his power, and of course that was Ernst Röhm, the leader of the SA, and by killing Ernst Röhm, he could then control the SA, shut the SA down as a potential force that could overthrow Hitler, and of course this meant he had total control of his party. And another consequence of this, of course, was that the army swore an oath of allegiance to Hitler personally because he chose the army over the SA. Okay, so here's our question. It's a bullet point question. As I said, question number 6. Which of the following was the most important reason why Hitler became dictator of Germany by 1934? Was it the Reichstag fire? Was it the Night of the Long Knives? Explain your answer with reference to both bullet points, 12 marks. So how would you answer this question? Have a think about the wording in the question. What are the skills you need to show? What would be a good success criteria for this question? You've seen in other videos, hopefully, that we make a success criteria to think about the skills you need to show. So pause me now and have a think about a success criteria. Here we are, here's the success criteria. So, firstly, we need to write a peel paragraph explaining each bullet point. So each one needs a really good detailed peel paragraph. Write a point to start each peel paragraph supported with factual evidence about the event or the bullet point you are discussing. Then we need to focus on the question and explain. So this was an important reason Hitler became dictator because, and explain the impact of it. You also might need to evaluate. You might need to link back to the question and say, furthermore, this really helped Hitler become dictator because, if you think it's a really important bullet point, or if it's a less important bullet point, say however, and give a negative. Once both bullet points are explained, you need to conclude by comparing them. So let's plan our answer now, shall we? So have a look through your notes on the Reichstag fire, the Knights of the Long Knives. See if you can come up with some ways in which they helped Hitler become dictator and increased his power, and have some evidence and ideas to back it up. So look through your notes now and come up with a plan. Away you go. Right, so here's some of the ideas I've come up with. So the Reichstag fire, a communist was blamed for the Reichstag fire. This equaled the Protection of People law to stop a revolution. Nazis used this to control the March 1933 election campaign. Secondly, communists were banned and fear of revolution was used to help pass the enabling law. Nazis gained 4 years of dictatorial powers. Whereas the Night of Long Knives, Hitler had Rom killed and the SA were destroyed. Hitler's biggest rival was killed and the power of the SA could be destroyed. And then, of course, the further consequence, the furthermore of this was the army swore an oath of allegiance to Hitler. Okay, so what would your answer look like? Well, you need to write a paragraph in appeal style, as I said already. So you would say something like, firstly, the Reichstag fire was quite important or was very important as a reason why Hitler rose to power. Then you'd say, for example, you give evidence of the Reichstag fire. We then explain this helped Hitler become dictator because, maybe we talk about the enabling law and its impact around the election result. And if we think it's really important, we're then going to say furthermore and give another idea. We could also say we don't think it's totally important. We could say, however, this is not important because, and evaluate the idea. So now let's give this a go, shall we? So firstly, start off by writing your opening point. Firstly, the Reichstag fire was a very important reason, or a partly important reason, why Hitler became dictator of Germany because, okay, and think about maybe how it helped him have extra powers, start to link to maybe the enabling law. Okay, away you go. Okay, so here's my opening sentence. I've said, firstly, the Reichstag fire was a very important reason why Hitler became dictator of Germany because it helped him gain a Reichstag majority and introduce the enabling law. Nice, simple reason. Now, give some evidence from the story of events around the Reichstag fire, around the election result. Give some evidence that backs up that statement. Away you go. Okay, so I've said, for example, due to the Reichstag fire, Hitler was able to gain emergency powers from Hindenburg as people feared a communist revolution. Hindenburg used Article 48 to introduce a law for the protection of people and the state. So now let's explain. This helped Hitler become dictator because we want to explain our idea. So pause me now and come up with your explanation. Remember to think about the impact of these Reichstag fire and then following events that happen. Okay, so here's what I said. I said this helped Hitler become dictator because the Nazis were able to use the law to shut down opposition rallies and meetings in the build-up to the March 1933 election. This helped the Nazis to gain 44% of the vote in the election. Also, using the protection law, he could ban communists and make alliances with the nationalists, so Hitler had a Reichstag majority. Let's think about it furthermore. So we've said it's very important. So furthermore, this helped Hitler to become dictator because we need a further idea about how it helped him create a dictatorship. Okay, so think about another impact to another set of people or another piece of time. Okay, so I said furthermore, this helped Hitler to become dictator because the Catholic and Centre parties were willing to support Hitler due to their fear of a communist revolution after the fire. And it helped Hitler gain a 2/3 majority to pass the enabling law to give 4 years dictatorial powers. And you could take that further if you want to by talking about banning political parties or bringing in the concentration camps. Next, let's have a go at the second paragraph on the Knights of the Long Knives. Now, I'm not going to talk you through step by step of this one. I'm going to leave the writing frame on the screen. You can give it a go yourself. So start off with your point. However, the Knight of the Long Knives was quite a very important reason why Hitler became dictator. Give your reason why. Look back at our plan. Is he killing off his enemies, perhaps? For example, support with your knowledge about what happened in Knight of the Long Knives. Then talk about the impact of that. So he's removed Ernst Röhm. He's killed off the SA. How is that protecting his power and keeping him a dictator? And then a furthermore, maybe you talk about the role of the army, or give a weakness, maybe a however. Okay, so now over to you and write your paragraph. So here's my idea. I've said, however, the Night Long Knives was quite an important reason why Hitler became dictator of Germany because it helped him remove his enemies. For example, we could talk about removal of SA leader Ernst Röhm, and he wished to have his brown shirt army to become the military of Germany. Hitler, who felt threatened by Röhm's power, sided with the official German army and had Röhm killed during the Night of Long Knives, and the SA was destroyed. This helped Hitler become dictator because obviously he's removed the brown shirts and Röhm, and then furthermore by destroying the SA, he's choosing the army over Ernst Röhm and he's getting oath of loyalty towards him. I've then said, however, without the Reichstag fire, Hitler would not have had the Reichstag majority or the enabling law to be a dictator in the first place. So maybe that is more important. Finally, have a look at a conclusion. If you want to see a conclusion, then look at my other bullet point videos. I'm not going to show you a conclusion here, but just remember to make it clear which bullet point is most important. Give strengths to that bullet point, the weaknesses of the other bullet point, and maybe compare them to come up with a conclusion. Okay, so I hope you found that video useful, and we've shown you how to do a bullet point question with some evaluative pedal paragraphs to explain your answer. If you found it useful, then do have a look at my channel, find more tutoring videos. Of course, have a look at my revision guide. Got lots of help there to tutor you through to success. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.